Moving on, life as literature, literature as life. Long lines snaked around bookstores across Japan by midnight Thursday. Everyone was waiting for the third book of Haruki Murakami's novel 1Q84. The publisher ordered a press run of 700,000 for the initial printing, an unusually large number. The first two volumes, released last year, sold more than 2 million copies together.
I came here so I could read it as soon as possible.
I just started thumbing through the book and I can't stop. I want to finish by morning.
Murakami may well be the most well-known Japanese novelist in the world these days. Once people pick up his books, they often find they can't put them down, as a matter of fact. Here's what all those people were waiting for. Book 3, along with the first two parts of 1Q84, 1Q84. Books about the books are also on the market. Haruki Murakami made his debut in 1979 with Hear the Wind Sing. Since then, he's often written about disaffected young city dwellers. Norwegian Wood, published in 1987, solidified his place in literary circles. It portrays a young man's sense of loss and isolation amidst the material wealth of the bubble economy. Murakami's works have been translated and published in more than 45 countries. They have been well received, and Murakami now has a worldwide reputation. And this week, Book 3 of his latest novel hit the bookstores.
The story is set in Tokyo in 1984. It involves parallel narratives of two 29-year-olds, Aomame, a female fitness instructor, and Tengo, a male prep school tutor with aspirations of becoming a novelist. The characters first meet when they are 10 years old. They're drawn to each other, but fate pulls them apart. Their paths repeatedly cross until a strange chain of events involving a cult engulfs them both. The inspiration for this novel was the 1995 sarin attack on the Tokyo subway. Followers of the Om Shinrikyo religious cult released the poisonous nerve gas sarin in the subway. Thousands of people became sick. 12 died. The general population was shocked to learn a large number of Om Shinrikyo followers had good educations, graduate students, lawyers, and medical doctors among them. Shortly afterward, the director of the National Police Agency was shot. Last month, just as the statute of limitations was expiring, investigators tried to pin the blame on Om Shinrikyo members, but no charges were filed. Even so, that caused the public to remember its anxiety over Om Shinrikyo. Global events also figure in Murakami's world. In January of 2009, the Israeli army struck the Gaza Strip, resulting in deaths and injuries. A month later, Murakami was selected for a prestigious literary prize in Israel. He made a rare public appearance, showing up for the award ceremony.
Characters tread a fine line between reality and illusion.
Between a high solid wall and the egg breaks against it, I will always stand on the side of the egg. No matter how right the wall may be, how wrong the egg, I will be standing with the egg. Someone else will decide what is right and what is wrong. Perhaps time or history will do it. At the age of
The language may have been veiled, but many perceived it as a clear criticism of Israeli policies.
I have only one reason to write novels, and that is to bring the dignity of the individual soul to the surface and shine a light upon it. The purpose of the story is to sound an alarm, to keep a light trained on the system in order to prevent it from tangling our souls in its web. and demeaning them.
During the speech, Murakami spoke ominously of something called the system. He said his goal was to shed light on it through writing. 3 months later, books 1 and 2 came out.
Professor Daisaburo Hashizume of Tokyo Institute of Technology joins us now. He's a sociologist specializing in the challenges of modern societies. Thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you.
Now, what did Murakami mean by this system? What aspects of Japan is he speaking about?
Yeah, the system is not something that you can see, but something you may feel. It is an arrangement. The arrangement of isolated individuals in contemporary society. They are all wanting to communicate with each other, but they are wrapped up in his or her own small personal world. In this sense, the system is a kind of wall. But Murakami said at the same time, don't regard it as an enemy, like Om Shinrikyo did. There is no big brother in the system.
Why do you think the book has generated so much interest?
Most of the readers, I think, are attracted by the situations the characters are put in, not by story itself. The novel develops into parallel stories. Two stories switch with each other, and the readers observe both stories at the same time. Then gradually, the reader sympathizes with lonely lives of isolated individual characters, like Aomame and Tengo. They are spiritual twins. They are destined with each other, but they did not encounter again until the end of the story. Reader feel this loneliness real.
Well, whatever the reason may be, 1Q84 has attracted a global audience, and readers aren't content keeping their opinions to themselves.
This group periodically holds readings of Murakami's works. It was organized over the internet. Almost 10,000 people now belong, most in their 20s or 30s. They say the novel has opened their eyes to the difficulty of judging good and evil and the dangers of what Murakami calls the system.
After reading the book, I realized simply labeling something good or bad can be dangerous.
It made me think about dependency on religion or anything else. If you go too far, you become dependent.
Comments and opinions concerning Murakami's books now move instantaneously across the internet. Readers want to be heard. These readers use Twitter to discuss Murakami's works. The participants set a specific date to exchange opinions. One event allowed people to exchange tweets about the book over a 24-hour period. The audience may be invisible, but as soon as a comment is posted, responses appear in a matter of seconds from all over the country and, in fact, from around the world.
Personally, I like the book. I have a hard time putting my finger on exactly why. Maybe it's that it feels like the gentle rocking of a boat.
Honestly, I didn't get it. Maybe I need to read it again to understand.
It's amazing how the novel can be read so many different ways.
When you think about it, isn't literature contradictory? It uses lies to expose the truth. I think this work explores that idea.
Communication breakdowns are a frequent theme in Murakami's works. Modern society has multiple ways of moving messages from place to place. Finding truth, however, remains as hard as ever.
This electronic chatter, does it demonstrate a lack of connection with the real world, just like the characters in the book?
As items such as cell phones and internet are small holes of their cocoons. Ironically, they feel more isolated, all the more because they can use such easy communication tools. Facing this kind of difficulty, Murakami tries to cut a large hole with writing a novel to the cocoon. Then Murakami's reader followed with reading his work.
Where does Murakami, the author Murakami, stand in this whole phenomenon that's happening around him and his books?
It is his talent. He has an advanced sensibility from the beginning of his career. So he, like a prophet, could describe the isolated individual situations in the late 60s and 70s.
Why do you think Murakami's influence has spread beyond Japan to the entire world?
Murakami carefully removed all the localities from his novels from the beginning, and trying to describe only universalities of this contemporary world. And Japan is a country of cross point of multiple cultures, so Murakami's work was regarded as persuasive.
Thank you very much for your insight today.
Thank you too.